Little birdie told me I need RV advice.
Get information straight from the horse's mouth.
Little birdie told me I need RV advice.
It's Just Ask Gigi with Gigi Stetler and Tom Alexander. Now here's Gigi and Tom.
Hi everybody and welcome to Just Ask Gigi. My name is Tom Alexander and as always, I am joined by
Hi.
the one, the only, Gigi Stetler. Hey Gigi, how things going over there?
They're grand as grand can be.
Right. Well, that's good. And I know things are busy and every time we check in, it's I hear the buzz of activity going on like a beehive over there.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. So I know we've got a few things to chat about today, and also one sort of fun big surprise. So we'll talk about that as well. And
I just want to bring up one thing that I forgot to mention earlier.
Yeah.
So I just happened to notice, we are Just Ask Gigi, and I just happened to be on my Facebook or on RV Advisors Facebook page, and off to the left, because for some reason they have a new landscape. The Facebook does. It's a new look.
yes, it's different. Yeah.
Off to the left, there was a box that said messages, and I never had that box before. So anyway, I clicked on the box, and there's hundreds and hundreds of messages, and they're questions that people are asking. But for some reason, and it must be after every show or when the show is broadcasting, but for some reason they're going into like a message box that unless you're approved, it doesn't go straight to us. So I didn't even know that existed. So I think if one of two things, I'm so upset. I tried to start answering some of the questions yesterday. I don't even know how old they are. But I feel terrible that we're Just Ask Gigi and they're not getting an answer.
You know what? We need to see it, because I know that I'm still trying to navigate my way around the sort of new look Facebook right now. And it is a little bit confusing. On my phone, it seems a little more familiar, sort of the way it used to be. But when I go onto my computer, my eyes are darting all over the screen, trying to figure out exactly what's what.
I know it's strange. So maybe for, some people, maybe they're asking questions and they don't want it to be on, our live feed, which makes sense why they're going to Messenger. And I don't get an alert that there's a message in the Messenger. So, and I had no idea to even, anyway, I'm technically challenged. We all know that. So perhaps
believe me, I am not far behind. I'm really trying to find my way around as well. So
do you think if they go to maybe, I know we have on our website, Just Ask Gigi, right? On the website.
Yeah, sure. So
okay.
Usually what we generally do is we just have folks write in at, they email us at info@thervadvisor.com and they have a question for you. They can ask it there. But, let's see what we can find out a little bit more about this message box, sort of the new configuration over there on Facebook.
At least now I know it's there. So now when the show is posted, I can have somebody, help me and go through it, because at least now I know it's there. But
right.
Nothing else. I would apologize to the people that, that didn't get their questions answered. I did start to catch up yesterday. So we'll continue with that. I'll just have somebody, on it. And if you really want my attention, just send a message on the live feed and, with your name, and then if you want a private answer, then just put DM, which would be a direct message, and then I'll direct message you.
All right. Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah.
And I know that we've got a special announcement that we'd like to make involving a new alliance, and we're very excited about this. So why don't you share that with our viewers?
Well, I'm not going to give you everything. You'll have to stay tuned till next week.
No, it's a little tease, right? We call it a tease in the business. So what's the tease?
So the RV Odd Couple John and Mercedes, and they, they're famous YouTubers, but they're such an inspiring young couple that is just a typical, they sold off all their stuff to go full timing, and dove in head first into the RV world, and unfortunately ended up buying a Camping World. And anyway, so they did their first video of what a disaster their buying experience was and everything, and so on and so forth. So anyway, long story short, we have met, not physically, we've never met physically, which we have, they've been on our podcast, I've been on theirs, and so on and so forth. But so we're going to do something special, and something really special together. They're just recently, their daughter, I don't know if we talked about it last week, but their daughter Sage was diagnosed as autistic.
Yes.
And so we want to do, RVing for autism. And so we're putting together this really cool adventure to cruise around raising awareness for autism in a special RV.
Yeah.
And, for therapy for Sage, but it's actually, it's amazing. And we want to now, like just what we did with the Coronavirus Assistance Fund, we want to do the same for autism. And we think that it's an incredible cause, and RVing is just that, kind of that mechanism that would put an autistic child feeling all the comforts of home, but home is where you plug in, and be able to adventure outside the box. So anyway, we're excited, and stay tuned, because we will be having some very special announcements for next week on what we're planning.
Yeah, that's terrific. And of course that will involve, as Gigi said, the RV Odd Couple, John and Mercedes Condon, wonderful folks. And I know that you did mention Camping World, and of course it's been a running theme here on the show the last few weeks, in particular some of the Camping World issues that folks have been dealing with. We've been getting an awful lot of correspondence on our Facebook page in particular, with things going on, and having just sort of a really rough experiences, and having just some stories to share. But any updates on that front on your end?
It's a tough, it just beyond, the stuff that I'm working with now, back to, the McNairs that I did get their loan rescinded and all of that. And the incompetence, the absolute incompetence of Camping World. They signed a contract with the bank through their legal department, signed a contract to rescind this contract, and it was all done, and they were supposed to make payment in 3 days to pay off the loan and all this stuff. Well, they dragged it out and dragged it out and dragged it out, and they kept making the McNairs drive back to the dealership and back to the dealership to sign more papers and sign more papers. And where it was kind of a little bit scary for them, like they were trying to, it was almost like they were like wanting to meet them in the back of the alley of the dealership. It was something like out of a movie, and they were a little bit scared, and they wanted to stay within the cameras. And the RV, they had to certify that was the odometer, which that's BS. And so they wanted them to come to the back of the lot to look at it, and it just was like very sketchy. So they wanted it to be up front. So apparently whoever drove it up front, it looked like they were so angry that they were going to run them over. So it was like, it was crazy. But I have another member of ours that's also, we're working through the process of their RV nightmare, and Camping World's been calling them and threatening them, and Marcus Lemonis sends direct messages on Twitter to people basically threatening them. So it's crazy.
Wow.
It,
I
it
mean,
really is crazy.
yeah, and you're saying, sort of paraphrasing, but I mean, meet me in the back of the store, I mean, in the alley or something, and you like, it's right. You almost envision this sort of like, spy covert thing going on, where it's like, the eagle has landed, whatever it is, some kind of code language, and it's just, it's unbelievable. This is
But,
crazy.
it's crazy, but I'm kind of like, I'm not backing down
Yeah.
at all. And I think the further and harder we march forward, the angrier they might get. But in the end, in the long run, we may start to get some respect, and possibly the people that are out there holding all these empty bags, which, by the way, anybody that has not been on our victims of MarcusLemonis.com website, or have posted their stories, or they're on the Camping World Experience or Horror Stories or any of those things, any of you that are making payments on your RV and you don't have possession of them because the RV is still sitting at Camping World. I love that picture of the Camping World Experience where the couple and the dog are sitting in chairs. They're skeletons now. How long do we have to wait here to pick up our RV? And they've turned to bones. It's not funny, but it's true.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's obviously pretty sad. I mean, I know we're sort of chuckling about it because it's a cartoon, but yeah, it's
Horrible. I have another lady. I'm going to help her. I know she's 75 years old, and she bought an RV, I think January 4th of 2020, and it was delivered. They delivered it to her, and there were many problems, and there were no keys. They never gave her keys to it. So they came and picked the RV up, and it's now September 1st, and they still have it, and they won't return her calls.
Yeah.
They still have it. It's 9 months.
Wow. Unbelievable.
9 months, and they won't return her calls.
Oh, man. Won't return the calls. Well, there you go. Folks, I can tell you this. We'll return your calls. We'll get back to you. And we're the RV advisor, and that's that we can guarantee. And obviously something we've been focusing on too, and I gotta say that we're somewhat relieved that the damage and the result of this storm, this category 4 at one point, Hurricane Laura, that rolled through the Gulf Coast and hit specifically East Texas and Western Louisiana. It was certainly was rough, but it could have been, according to most folks and forecasters and everything, it could have been a lot worse, and it wasn't quite as bad as anticipated, which obviously is the news you want to hear. Still, there's a lot of folks that are, dealing with the result of that storm, and I know that you're trying to coordinate getting some help out there as well.
Yeah, it's worse than the coverage, that we're hearing over here. I mean, so many people were evacuated that aren't even able to get back to their houses yet. The only thing that wasn't as bad as they anticipated was the storm surge. Didn't rise as high as what they had predicted, but the wind,
the wind came as advertised.
Yes, the wind was something, and wind will take off your roof and do all kinds of damage. Right. I'm organizing right now sending my truck with a trailer to Louisiana to rescue all the animals that are roaming the streets in flooded waters right now. It's horrible. There are so many animals, dogs, cats, that are homeless and lost their families. So I've got a truck with a trailer, and we've got crates and stuff, and I have a rescue team that's on its way, leaving Friday from here to go rescue those pets. And we did that during Katrina. We've actually done that almost every storm, and it, you know me, I'm a pet lover, and I can't,
You know.
I can't, stand a helpless animal. I can't do
I'm
it.
right with you. It's very hard to see that, and
Yeah.
stand by and do nothing. We do have some questions for you, Gigi. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back on Just Ask Gigi. She's Gigi Stetler. I'm Tom Alexander. Back in just a moment. RVACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of RV owners. With your help, we'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality controls in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org. We are back on Just Ask Gigi along with Gigi Stetler. I'm Tom Alexander, and Gigi, of course, as always, we have some questions for you right here on Just Ask Gigi, and get a note from Sally, and Sally writes, any storage tips in terms of weight? That's interesting. Any weight. In other words, like, I guess it depends on the vehicle you've got. But let's say something mid-range, like like I know you have your 5-box rule, right? You have your 5-tub
Well,
rule.
that's for packing and camping, but there's really no general rule. If you're going to put something in storage and not be towing it around or whatever, and you wanted to load all your personal belongings in it, depending on your axle size. So if you've got two 7,500-pound or 7,000-pound axles, which is normal, you would take the dry weight of the camper, and to know what that is, you'd open up the door, look on the left or the right hand side of the door, would have a sticker, and it'll tell you what the weight is. That's the dry weight as it was when it was manufactured. Then you look on the outside weight of the GVWR, and you subtract the dry weight from that, and that will give you a difference, which would usually range from 12 to 1,700 pounds. That is the maximum carrying capacity that you could load the RV with without bending the axles.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, I think that answers that question.
Whether you store it or drive it, it's the same weight capacity.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, Sally, for that. And Justin writes, and this is another traveling sort of question, talking about Western states. What is your favorite place to go out in the West? I'm guessing a place like Yellowstone or those kinds of places.
Oh, I've never done Yellowstone. I'm dying to, but I have not been fortunate enough to camp out there, but I have done day trips where when I've stayed in Las Vegas or in LA, I love the Grand Canyon, the all of that area, out west Nevada. I've done all those helicopter tours and things that, I can only imagine how amazing. And the, what is in Arizona with the red rocks, what's that called?
Oh, Sedona.
Sedona. Yeah, Sedona. I actually was supposed to go to Sedona and had to cancel at the last minute, but saw pictures from all the friends that did go, and I hear that is one amazing, absolutely amazing place to go. I'm an East Coast girl. Haven't made my way to the West Coast other than not camping anyway, other than living. But Yellowstone, I see pictures all the time, and I think if that would definitely be on my wish list to go to Yellowstone.
Yeah. Sedona, I hear so many things about, wonderful things from friends that have gone, and they just can't rave enough about it. And I have a friend, someone I grew up with. In fact, my very first friend, we basically grew up next door to each other. He lives in Wyoming now, and he's been out there for, I guess about 3 years now.
That's a great place. I went skiing there in Jackson Hole, and amazing. That whole area. It's I haven't been in an RV out there, and I would, that is definitely on my wish list too. I don't know if I could make the cross country drive, but if I did do something like that, I would rent something out there and tour around. That would be amazing because there's so many things to see. I haven't seen everything on the East Coast yet, so there's so many things to see out there.
we say it all the time on the podcast. We have so many people that come on and tell us about their adventures, and I think I'm certainly guilty of this. In that, I've traveled a little bit, to Europe and things like that. There's so much to see right here in the United States, and it's just and most people don't see it. I've been to a little more than half of the states in the union so far, and but there's and even in those states that I visited, sometimes it's just for a day, and so I don't get to see. And there's just so much to do.
There's so it's so interesting now, like due to COVID, and why the intense spike in RV sales and rentals right now.
Right.
We thought it was just going to be kind of a fad, while everybody was shut down and in quarantine, and then quarantine was slowly lifting. People went, I got to get out, kind of thing, and not wanting to do hotels or they weren't open. And now, like, we've been selling strongly for a good 2.5 months, and customers that have taken trips have come in and either traded for a bigger one or just come in for service and just talk about the experiences and the stories that they have that they'd never in a million years imagined, them camping. These are people that would either go to Europe or take a cruise or whatever, and had the best time ever, and never really realized how much our country has to offer and how beautiful our country is, and right here in your own backyard. So I truly believe that we all need to get out and discover everything, discover America. One really cool thing though, if you the gentleman had asked about camping out west, I know one thing, Harvest Host would definitely be on my list, to visit all the wineries out there in my RV, because that's what they do. But that's got to be so beautiful, to stay at the wineries out there, which I've not been fortunate to visit, but that's the way I would go.
No, absolutely. It sounds, there is so much to do, as you said, and why not? Absolutely explore America, discover America, as you just said, which I think was a slogan at one point for travel, discover America. Well, Gigi, obviously we're put another show to bed here this week, and but before we say goodbye, we do want to let you know that if you do have a question for Gigi right here on Just Ask Gigi, just write info@thervadvisor.com, info@thervadvisor.com, and just in the subject line, just put JAG, Just Ask Gigi. That's it, and we'll know that that's a question for her. And also, we want to let you know that if you want to register your vehicle, check it out, rvaca.org. That's rvaca.org. And remember, that is an organization built for you, the consumer, the RV enthusiast, the RV owner. We've said it before. The manufacturers have a seat in Washington, as do the dealers. So now it's time for you, the consumer, to have a seat in Washington, and we're working toward that with the rvaca.org. But until that day, we're here to help in any way we can. And of course, registering your vehicle is also critical, very important. And just hop on rvaca.org.
Yeah.
I think we covered it, right? I think that's everything.
We did, and look for us next week, and check out our RVing for Autism, our latest mission, and we'll see you someday on the road.
Sounds good to me. For Gigi Stetler, I'm Tom Alexander. This is Just Ask Gigi. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.
Bye.